Hi, welcome to the Magnetic Moon podcast. I'm hitting record in the midst of a bedtime routine, but I felt really inspired to speak about what I'm going to share with you today. And the title of this episode is The Evolution of You. And we all go through different phases and chapters and identities and versions of ourselves in life. And this can actually be named through the lens of astrology, which that's what astrology is. It's a beautiful tool. It's never concrete, it's information and it's interesting. And it's not instruction, right? It's simply um, a tool to help us to better understand ourselves. So you get to be whoever you want to be. There is no right or wrong. There is no, I'm a Scorpio, I gotta be a Scorpio. No. Live your life, trust what is alive for you in the moment, trust however you want to show up. But it's interesting to look back and see, wait a minute, I'm feeling this shift. I'm feeling like I'm ready to embody something new. And it actually is very much reflected in the astrology, which is what I'm going to share with you today. So, what we're going to be speaking about is something called progressions. And it's interesting that that is what this concept is called progression, to progress, right? To move into something new, move forward perhaps. And when I found this out, I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. And I'm a Scorpio, and in Vedic astrology, I'm a Libra, and I can resonate with Libra energy very much. And so, again, there's always so many beautiful, wonderful tools that help us to understand ourselves. And here we are, another layer of astrology that helps us. So, progression actually explains and shows how we develop, how our soul evolves. So, when I look at a progress chart, to me, I'm like, this is the version you are moving into. This is the new era of you. This is the new version of you. And it really shows how our souls can change shape over time. So, you have your natal astrology chart, right? And your natal astrology chart is definitely an imprint. It's when you were born. There's such an imprint. There's actually science to how you were born really shapes your who you are and who you become and your nervous system, even from conception, actually. Very interestingly, upon conception and sort of the energy that your mother held through your growth as a fetus in the womb has a major impact as to who you become on the outside. So your natal astrology chart, right? There's so many layers, beautiful tidbits of information to it, and it shows a lot about your journey on this earth. And then your progressed chart is who you are evolving and becoming, and sort of what is the identity shift you're experiencing now? How is your soul growing right now? So you can think about, sometimes I'm talking about transits, right? So transits are where the planets are right now in relationship to your natal chart. That's a transit. And that's kind of like weather. And then your progression is more of like a season. That's an interesting way to look at it. And so, how are you feeling right now? Do you know your natal astrology chart, or do you know what your sun sign is and anything about that? It's okay if you don't, but do you feel like there are parts of you that are different from, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Of course, we're always growing and maturing, right? So, this really can correlate to maturity. And so, let's dive into what this looks like technically if you're going to look at your chart. So I always use astro-seek.com. I just find it very easy. It's free. It's beautiful. It has everything you need on there. And when you do your birth chart calculator, on the right-hand side, you'll see transits and progressions. And once you've opened that tab just above your chart, you can see there's a little button that says progressions only. And so how it works is that how it's calculated, because astrology is very much math-based, how it's calculated is that one day equals 1 year. So I am 33. So what my progressed chart is right now is where all the planets moved 33 days after I was born. And that's my progress chart. Where this philosophy comes from and how that correlates to, actual answers and who you are. I haven't looked into that, and maybe I should have before I hit record, but I've channeled it and I've worked with it and it's always landed. And it really is beautiful because it's like maybe your sun moves. So right now I'm a Sagittarius according to my progress chart. And it's so funny because I've been feeling so fiery lately. And also for a few years there, the moon was in Pisces. And that was such a chapter of deep inner reflection and meditation and connecting to my spiritual self. And yeah, like just fully meditative and in my own sort of world. And I was so looking forward to when my progressed moon was going to move into Aries, and I did feel a shift. I didn't, it's not like I had it in my calendar or anything, but I remember like looking and be like, oh my God, that's going to be so much more refreshing. And it is for different reasons. But that's just a personal example. So it moves slowly, and it's sort of, yeah, this natural evolutionary process of growth. And it's, it's nothing sudden. It's really just who you are evolving and becoming. There are different pieces to the progression in that, all the planets, right? And where they're moving and what that means in terms of, okay, my progress chart shows me where all the planets are in this, phase of life. But what does that mean? So when the sun moves, this shows like your identity evolving, who you are at the core. So, if I left the example of I'm a Scorpio, but according to the progress chart, I'm a Sagittarius, and I feel that I resonate with the Sagittarius fire energy. If if you do the calculations, right, 1 day equals 1 year, and there are so many degrees, there's 29 degrees in every sign. So realistically, that sun's never going to go back to the Scorpio in my life, right? So, if you live to be 100 or something like that, it's only going to move a few signs, but it really shows how you evolve at the core of you. And the moon, similarly, the moon moves up quite a lot quicker. So the moon in your progress chart can change. It'll kind of show, different ways that you are changing in your emotional needs and your internal processing. So these phases can feel a little bit more noticeable, which I find interesting. And then your Venus and Mars, this relates to your desires, right? And your energy and your motivation and what's really important to you. And this is going to shift and change. I particularly like the thought of Mars and how that's changing and how your energy is going to change in your lifetime and sort of what you are driven by. So that can really show up, yeah, in the progress chart, because maybe at one point you wanted to do this sort of thing. And, maybe it's, I don't know, real estate or whatever it is. And then, you decided you want to start a food blog. And um, Mars, I think, can pertain to, well, Mars and Venus pertains to our interests. So looking at the progress chart will possibly validate what you are feeling. And, when you think about your goals and your desires, are they authentic to you in this moment, right? It's not like this part of you is going to shift and change. The outer planets don't change sign that quickly, but because these planets don't move very fast, and if the progress chart is like 1 day, the chart shifts by 1 day of your life, then those outer planets aren't going to move much. The degrees, so back to that note that I just said about the degrees, 29 degrees in every sign. We can go deep in a whole other episode, but every degree actually holds a different frequency. From 11 degrees to 14 degrees to 28 degrees, they all are different. So that's how there's so many beautiful layers of astrology. So yeah, two people can be a Scorpio or an Aries, but if they have different degrees that of where their sun is, that makes a difference. So this really is a powerful way to reframe. I think a lot of our society looks at life and time linearly, which, though I think recently have proven that time, is not linear. Maybe that's not recent, but I've just seen conversations around it. But this really just gives you an allowance, just like an ease about the timing and the shifts that are happening in your life. So, just notice the seasons that you're in. Let what you're fueled by and what you have energy for just be natural It doesn't have, this allows for more fluidity because who you are on a soul level is progressing and changing, right? And it's not that you have to drop the old self and say goodbye. It's just adding to the evolution of you, and just different parts of yourself are being expressed at different times. So I hope that was helpful for you. We talked about the progressed chart. What a beautiful way to decode and understand the evolution of you, the way that your astrology chart actually changes. I think it's very, very interesting and beautiful to see. So I want to switch gears and talk about the lunations of February. May have shared this recently, or I did it on a group call recently, about how normally I kind of look at the energy of the year, and I like to look at each month and sort of what's happening and see if I can, just get a feel for like what months stand out. This year I didn't do that for, I don't know, whatever reason, probably just that I don't have time. But I thought January was so potent, but I kind of have a feeling that February is feisty as well. So let's look at the full moon. We start with a full moon in Leo on February 1st, 13 degrees. So look at where 13 degrees of Leo is in your chart and what house that occupies. That is the area of life that's going to get the biggest illumination and drama. And honestly, it probably will be dramatic because Leo is drama in some ways. And so I think it's, yeah, beautiful to start the month with brightness. So I feel like it sets the tone for that month a little bit. And the other thing is, when we're looking at 13 degrees of Leo, you actually also want to consider 13 degrees of Aquarius and what area of life that is, as well as Taurus and Scorpio, because the full moon will make a alignment, a direct alignment to 13 degrees of Taurus and Scorpio as well. And that'll feel like a pressure where Aquarius is. And that'll feel a little bit more like a tug of war, perhaps, of energy. But then the Taurus Scorpio energy is like pressure. And so, wow, yeah, this moon is something, because at the opposite sign, Aquarius, 13 degrees, you have the sun, you have Mercury, Venus, and Mars all very close by, as well as Pluto in there to add a little drama. So the moon is pulling us into our heart space because there's a lot of, I think, mental pressure happening. And this full moon is actually bringing the emotion and the heart into it. So maybe we are overthinking something. Maybe we are idealizing things. Maybe we are too in our minds. And I feel like this moon is actually bringing us back to our heart space and remembering that we are human and we have a creative life force within us. And I think there's just so much information and energy and frequency happening on this planet. Oh my gosh. I mean, we say we're in the information age. It's a lot. And what I think this moon is, it's not only about, what's happening on February 1st, but I actually think the message of this moon is to bring your heart and to bring yourself and your authentic voice and your authentic ideas and your true nature to the forefront. It needs to be illuminated. And it's not about the mental game anymore, the strategy and the trying to figure things out. It's actually about what does it feel like? What do we want to feel? How do we want to express? It's so beautiful, the blessings of the technology and the way we can communicate. And, the birth of the internet was wild, and now we have AI, and it's making our lives easier in a lot of ways. But I think that this moon is just to remember our true nature and our true heart space and capacity, and what lights us on fire, what lights us up truly, and just express from that place is what this moon feels like. I hope that message resonates with some of you. And yeah, again, 13 degrees, consider that for your Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio placements. Our final lunation of February is the solar eclipse in Aquarius at 28 degrees. And this happens February 17th. So again, we want to look at 28 degrees of Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. These are the signs that are going to be most activated and the areas of your chart that are going to be most activated. But nonetheless, if we zoom in on a new moon solar eclipse, this is a reset. And when it's a new moon, it's definitely an internal reset. Not to say that things can't happen on the external, because maybe Aquarius is your 10th house, which is very much quote unquote external, but maybe there's a reset within you on how you are applying yourself to that area of your life. Aquarius themes, though, for the collective. We also have Mars there, I want to note, and Pluto, which makes things fierce, fiery, potent. It could be a sudden change, could be quick actions or insights that you are receiving, and, possibly, yeah, insights on how you want to move forward from now. So this is the first eclipse in the Leo Aquarius eclipse cycle, which will happen over the next 2 years. So Leo and Aquarius, welcome. If you have a lot of Leo and Aquarius placements, this is going to be reset. I'm feeling a little antsy about these eclipses and this journey, because I've been, what's the word, sort of watching eclipses since my nodal return in Gemini Aquarius years ago. So yeah, I've kind of been watching these themes play out in my life, and it always is, it's pretty potent, the things that happen. But this one, I'm like, oh gosh, let's see how this one rolls out. But anyway, so when I look at this chart, actually, what I also notice is that the North Node in Pisces is conjunct Venus, and that's making a pretty exact alignment actually to Jupiter in Cancer. So Pisces in Cancer, and when I look at this chart and the energy and the imprint that it gives off, I'm actually kind of drawn to the Pisces and Cancer energy. And it feels like, yes, we're getting these new, possibly insights, ideas, awareness coming from within, from our soul, from our highest self, whatever you want to say. And maybe these insights are going to be correlated to how do you want to feel in your body? How do you want to feel in your emotions? And what can you do creatively? What energy can you lean into to feel that, to experience that? So the North Node in Venus conjunct in Pisces is actually a draw and a pull and an attraction to something beyond what you've ever experienced. It feels like it's our feeling in our bodies and in our emotional bodies what we want to really step into and create. And it's almost like what I'm seeing in my mind is like this aura and this energy field that is just outside of us, but not so far enough that we can feel it in our body and in our emotions. We are receiving insights, information, ideas on how we can step into this energy field that is magnetic, attracting. It feels so good. It feels like a fuzzy, warm blanket. It feels like a fuzzy, creative, lively, buzzy, beautiful experience. And it seems like maybe these eclipses are going to help us to step into that. Like Leo Aquarius, it's like, it's creative, it's insightful, it's exciting, these eclipses. And I think, maybe as we move through this eclipse season, we are going to be experiencing an energy and an upliftment and a physical experience that we haven't felt before, emotional experience. It feels like I'm coming back to the word creativity. And when you paint a painting or you make a vision board, what do you put on it? And I think that we are going to be getting out of our own way here and stepping into our creative power and actually experiencing it. So really fun. These moons are super fun and definitely uplifting, buzzy. There's a buzzy energy to this year. It is so exciting. And so I hope that this was helpful for you. Please feel free to message me on Instagram. I'm happy to give you a little bit more insight if you need, and just vibe with you on what we are here to create, the excess, the abundance of prosperity we're here to experience on this earth. I am here to vibe with you about that. I love it. It's exciting, and wishing you all the best and happy February.